Sonoran Desert Heritage Conservation proposal can guide us so that there will be places where we can exercise our spiritual freedom in the sanctuary of nature. Preserve in us the desire to honor your creation, to know your handiwork, to share this symbol of your love for us with all your children, and as part of your creation, make us sensitive to its health and wholeness. May we learn to care for our earth as you care for us, and keep the blessing alive for generations to come. We ask these things in the name of the one who redeems all of creation, Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Our next speaker works for an organization that understands this as well as anybody. DMB, if there was any developer in the West that I would hold up as one that does it right, they're amongst the top. DMB works in my community in Mesa, it works in the West Valley, they're all throughout California, and they do developments that are absolutely incredible. And they understand the value of the open space to those developments and the values that it will add to their development. And so I want to introduce Jill Kuzi-Hagar. Jill is the Vice President of Entitlements at DMB. Her responsibilities include the coordination and direction of getting zoning done. If you even know how difficult that is, it's incredible that she maintains such a smiley face.
As the developer of Verado Marley Park and DC Ranch in Scottsdale, we are keenly aware of the value of preservation of environmental resources and providing opportunities for individuals to engage with nature. Specifically, as Dave has noted, this approach has been a successful formula for our company in creating communities that retain and grow their value and create a great quality of life for residents, excuse me, while at the same time celebrating and protecting this great natural resource that is the Arizona desert. With regard to the Sonoran Desert Heritage Program, we are supportive of not only the very collaborative approach that has been taken to communicate and include a diverse range of interests ranging from the environmental and conservation community to development interests such as ourselves and the others, as well as recreation and wildlife interests, and of course the important economic engine for our valley, the Air Force Base. Dave also mentioned that this is really the beginning of the next phase of the communication process, and I think that this part would be very, very important to now broaden the conversation to include the public in the conversation. Additionally, the multi-tiered approach that is being proposed is intended to provide for these interests in a way that seeks balance. Ultimately, the recognition of the natural treasures that exist in the West Valley in a balanced way will be a benefit to the region, one that will aid in preserving the important features, while at the same time improving the quality of life that is so necessary for Maricopa County to be the robust, healthy economic engine for the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dave. I feel like I'm among friends here today. I recognize so many faces out here in the crowd, and I'm excited to be here. As a spokesman for the Fighter Country Partnership and a member on the board for the past 2 years, it's been my distinct pleasure to serve on that board and to be involved in all the positive things that the Fighter Country Partnership does in the community, in the West Valley, and for the men, women, and families of Luke Air Force Base. For those of you who don't know much about Fighter Country Partnership, we're the leading advocacy group for Luke Air Force Base. We're a not-for-profit corporation made up of a very diverse group of board members and directors. You had an opportunity to hear some comments from Ron Seitz, our president of the board. And Ron's been on board for about the past 7 months, and what a catch to land Ron. He is a terrific guy. If you don't know Ron, get to know him because he really gets it and understands our role in the community, and people can't do it without Ron. Back to the mission of the Fighter Country Partnership, and that is to support the men, women, families, and mission of Luke Air Force Base. It didn't take the board long to review the SDH proposal and come to the realization that here was a real opportunity to conserve, maintain, and protect the most vital flight corridors that serve not only Luke Air Force Base, but eight other military installations in Arizona. And so when you take a look at that exhibit in the back of the room that shows the Luke flight corridors, and you look at the impact this conservation effort has on those flight corridors, you can see clearly that there is a lot of flying, a lot of training, a lot of learning going on in this conservation area. And so for that simple reason, Fighter Country Partnership is happy to be supportive of this conservation effort and look forward to working with the SDH group in the future. So thank you very much.
I'm proud to introduce our next speaker. He is a developer with a passion for conservation. Mr. John Graham joined Sunbelt Holdings in 1982, and to work for one development entity for that long in Arizona is impressive in its own right. But Mr. Graham also has served as the past chairman of the Nature Conservancy. So he has
I've lived in Arizona for over 50 years. I've had my company for about 30 years. We are real estate developers, and I think in that role, we have an unusual dual role, which is one is to create hopefully good communities and places for people to live, work, and play, but also I think to find a way to bridge the gap and protect this beautiful state that we have. And as was said, I've been a member of the board of directors of Nature Conservancy for 10 years. I chaired the organization for 2 years and then chaired the capital campaign that we recently completed. And in that, we exceeded our goal by about 25%, which I think just continues to show how important conservation and the environment is to people in Arizona. And kind of the byword of my career and the stuff that I do, because I've spent a lot of time with the issue of conservation and preservation and will continue to do so, is that I firmly believe that you cannot have a healthy economy without a healthy environment. And so it might be partly because it's an altruistic thing or something you're doing for community spirit, but I think it's also, if it's purely just for what's right for the economy and for Arizona, I think taking care of our environment is critically important. I also am very, very proud of the effort that's going on for this wilderness area, and that it's exactly the process that I think everybody needs to embark and be part of, which is basically a civil and friendly dialogue where people might have real differences for many reasons, but they find a way to find what they have in common for the better good of the state and for all of its citizens. And I think this effort is really a testimony to the way that process can work, should work, and is working. And I think the fact now that it's being opened up to others to continue to vet it and make sure that the final outcome is something that everybody can live with and be proud of, I think is a great testimony to the way it's been put together. So I applaud everybody that's been part of it. I'm just looking at the stand next to that board back there and seeing all the people that have signed on to it. I think that in and of itself is a work of genius, because I can promise you that while I think everybody has a lot of mutual respect for each other, they're not necessarily the people that you would see all on the same sheet of paper working on one project. But I think, again, that's the way the world should work and the way that it is working here. And I applaud everybody for putting this together and carrying it forward. So thank you very much.